2 is a sweet spot, man, for sure.
Choosing my wife was choosing to be a dad.
I want to ratchet my family history in the positive direction, even if it's just one click.
And so literally I woke up the next morning and exploded my life.
Being a father is like the greatest honor and the biggest ability to really impact this human that's coming into your life. Hi, I'm Tony Cooper. I'm the host of the Dad Manual podcast, and I'm here with one of my favorite people. Brad, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Brad Barnes, and I am a good dad to be. And
you have some wisdom to share.
And I have some wisdom to share.
You know, you do. So what do I want to say about you? So you and I know each other. You're a different guest for a number of reasons. One, you and I know each other sort of recently. Most everybody I've been in a fathering journey with. And so I've known for many, many years. And so I know a lot about them, and they're all like amazing people. You're somebody I've known for the past year and a half or so, and you're an amazing person, and you're somebody who has a lot of wisdom to share. You are a great dad to be, but that's the difference. You're a dad to be. You're not a dad yet. In fact, the background of this was I love the content so far on this podcast. I love what people are sharing. And it just dawned on me, I was like, what would be an interesting angle? And then the day that I was meditating, and the idea was like, wouldn't it be cool to catch a dad like right at the beginning of his journey? Not like talking about it from 20 years in the future, but right in the beginning. And then have a number of conversations with that dad as he's going through these phases real time. So where it's not like just trying to remember what it was like, but actually being inside of it. And then no motherfucking way, like the next day, your wife called me and told me she was pregnant. And I was like, Brad's my dude. It's gonna happen. Here we go.
So good.
So let's just start with that. How long have you known that you guys are expecting, and tell me about that journey so far?
So it's 12 weeks, right? We're walking out of T1 into T2. The synchronicities are always so fun to catch, like you beautifully just described, such a beautiful synchronicity, right? You put it out and you get it. My wife and I were choosing my wife was choosing to be a dad. Like that was a commitment I made. And I feel like there's so much around even the like, I want to, I don't want to, I don't know if I want to, and choosing into that relationship, like such a valuable part. Someone I'm coaching right now, her boyfriend was I'm not sure if I want to, and she's like a non-negotiable have to, and they broke up. I'm like, totally get it. Yeah, I would too. Because it's just such a piece of that whole dance of choosing a partner. I was running a training, as you know, because that's how we met, run transformational trainings. I was running a training for the first time with my wife, and we just took the students through this incredible meditative transformational experience. And she comes out and she goes, I just had a giant revelation. And I'm like, okay, well, we're not even officially dating yet. We're not even out. No one in our life even knows that we're attempting to date because we have a lot of mutual friends. And she said, not only am I having 2 children, but I'm adopting one of them. And I kid you not, almost all of me wanted to sprint out the door in that moment. Like it's just so petrified. And I knew she was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. So what was interesting was for me, that was like, okay, so I guess that's what I'm having. All right. I'm having 2 kids and I'm adopting one.
Okay. Let's go back to the moment of the petrified.
Mm-hmm.
What hit you that was like, the best option here is exit? Like, do you know what you're connected to that had you feel that way?
Yeah. Well, Tony, you and I have so many synchronicities and our lives are intertwined in so many ways, from me supporting you through that journey to your wife through that journey, through your daughter through that journey, and this summer, your son through that journey, which I'm so excited about. And when I was 24, I had my first stab at fatherhood with my last marriage when me and my now ex-wife lost our daughter, whose name was Olivia, which is your daughter's
Mm-hmm.
name. Another beautiful synchronicity. And so I was not completely through the healing of that experience in that moment. And
Right.
I was still in a place where I wasn't ready, like probably a lot of divorced men before ready to get married for the second time. I was in a place where I was like, I'm not yet ready to make a decision about being a dad again or not. And
Yeah.
so that was the first petrification, was like, I want this person, but I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm going to choose into that or not, because as you might
Yeah.
imagine, it was one of the most painful and heart-wrenching
Yeah.
experiences. And my
Wow.
heart had not healed yet completely,
Yeah.
like I feel like it is now. And so that was the first thing. And the second was how just clear she was in it. Like, this is happening.
Mm.
Okay. So I've chosen this person for maybe 7 days, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
sentence coming out, like just that definitive choosing, which wasn't a with you. It was just
Right. Right.
this is happening. It was
Yeah.
actually a with or without you. Like, this is
Right.
happening whether you're it or I'm alone or someone else. Like, it was that powerful of a
Mm-hmm.
statement. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, all that past flushed up, the newness of the relationship flushed up, and one of the more powerful opportunities to just stand and receive without needing to make a choice, without
Mm.
needing to take action, but simply listen to her truth in that moment and allow it to just be there. This is a truth out of a powerful process that exists right here, and
Yeah.
choose to just hold with that. And that was the choice I made.
Yeah. I can feel all that. Also, I did not know about your Olivia experience, and I don't know that you ever. Oh shit!
Can you read
Oh,
it?
yeah, I can see it. Yeah, it says
Yep.
Olivia on your arm.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Wow. I would imagine that is something that you'd never fully heal from, and in some way don't want to, like that, like that
Yeah.
first step into like that next creation, the experience of like what's possible when a child enters your life. But I don't think it's a healable thing.
A beautiful friend of mine introduced me to the concept of an angel baby.
Mhm.
And she's a very spiritual leader. She said, have you ever heard of an angel baby? And I said, no. She said, well, sometimes spirits or souls take the
Yeah.
form just to course correct your life back on track.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's just fascinating, because she was the reason that I finally had something I could own that needed to be healed.
Right.
Before that, yeah, maybe I'd have a therapist, and I probably wasn't very open with her, so I could judge that it didn't work. And, like most men are in, right? That's such a
Yeah.
common thing in our society. And the words personal development, I'd never heard of. Transformation, I'd never heard of. I didn't know who Tony Robbins was. I didn't know shit about shit. Like, it was so far away. And
Yeah.
of course, who I was with ultimately wasn't the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. And so
Right.
when I look at all that transformed and transpired because of that moment, what's allowed me to feel, yeah, maybe healed's not the right word, but able to walk forward, is that I have this angel who's
Yeah.
guided me over and over again. And
Yeah.
her name is on me. I know my little boy or girl one day will ask me what that means, and I'll get to share that. And yeah, there's definitely fear of that moment, and excitement to just be vulnerable,
Right.
to an opportunity to be vulnerable with them, which is part of something I'm really committed to doing with my little one, to the best of my ability, is to
Yeah.
choose honesty and vulnerability as much as humanly possible. But I feel I can walk where
Hmm.
for a long time I was a no-go. I'm not walking that way. I'm
Yeah.
not opening that door. And what's so interesting was, for so long I was like all about wanting to have kids, and I was so in, which is why at 24, when I was engaged but not yet married, and on the path, I was super excited and all in, and the outcome of that was, for the first time in my life, I actually didn't want to be a dad. And even meeting
Mm-hmm.
Cassidy, I gave her the choice. I was good either way. That was kind of
Yeah.
where I was sitting. And of course, I chose my partner for a reason, because
Yeah.
I also knew that that was going to be the way, right? So it was a way for me to just know that it's okay and it's going to happen, and to not force it, and to not like think that I needed to have it all together or get it all right or be perfectly healed through it all, because to choose her was ultimately to choose what she declared so
Yeah.
powerfully in that moment, which was
Right.
have one and bring one on. And I was like, okay, all right,
Yeah.
so there's my
Yeah.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah. The intertwinedness between us has even a more depth now that I know that. So I want to share something with you, which is we also had an angel baby and we called her Grace.
Mm.
And similar. And I didn't do anything about it for a very long time, but I have this tattoo.
Oh,
Okay, there, which
wow, how
is
beautiful.
that's and
I was
Grace
wondering
came
why
into
you
our
were taking
life.
your shirt off. I'm like, why
Yeah,
is
I know.
Tony trying to
It's
take
about,
his
it's
shirt
about
off?
to get
Okay.
interesting here. This podcast is crazy. And
Wow.
so I did not deal with that for a very long time. And actually, it came up right about the time when I started with ALA. This this understanding that there are these beings that come into your life for a reason. They want to be in your family. They want to be in your life, and maybe not necessarily destined to be take human form. And it took me 20 plus years
Mm.
to finally get to the place through therapy where I was like, I'm unhealed about that. And so I got that tattoo of the hummingbird coming out of mandala on my heart to heal my heart. Like that
Mm.
was that point. And so now it's there every day. And it's like like having that physical reminder of this being that's not here in the physical space has been really, I think, has been a daily practice of healing around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go again. The intertwinedness between
It's
us.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm guessing that there's a large theme through every episode of your podcast, which are all the things that no one tells you
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
doesn't. And maybe it's a preservation of, there's not really a way to make it easier, but losing babies before birth is one of them, and it is a
Mhm.
common thing. And until you join the club, you have no idea how many people are walking around with
Yeah.
something, right? And when it's your first, you're gung ho and you name the baby and you buy the things and you're all ready to go and all the things, which makes it so much harder. And the family knows,
Mhm.
and everyone's excited. My dad had bottles he'd bought, and he'd made the guest room into a nursery just for babysitting, like
Yeah.
all in. And then, you know, it's not. Yeah, it's a lot bigger club than most people know.
And to your point, I mean, a lot of what I'm really looking to create in this project is to be able for people to hear those conversations, that you don't have to be alone. You don't have to figure it all out all yourself. I will say that actually now, once so I got this tattoo prior to me starting with ALA and going through the ALA process. And then what was cool about it was I did it to heal my heart around that relationship and bring that spirit into my day to day, into our family in a really tangible way, memorable way. But then the process of reclaiming my own divine child, that tattoo took on a totally different meaning to me. And so now it's
Wow.
not only grace, but it's also me before life lifed and fucked me up in all the ways that it did. So it's like that beautiful, like it keeps delivering that anchor point. And man, all right. So I'm going to go back to when Cassidy gives you the like This is the train, and the train's leaving the station,
Yeah.
and you can be on it or not. It's up to you, but that's where it's going. And
Yep.
one of my favorite expressions, one thing you don't know about me is I'm a huge fan of cliches. Like the way we use cliches is like the most universal, powerful truth embedded into the simplest little statement. But because it's so trite, people always overlook them. So I'm fascinated. It's like irony to me. And so one of the expressions I love is all of the sudden. And we say it all the time, all of a sudden. And you break that sentence apart, you're like, what the fuck does that even mean? All of the sudden, but it's like the moment at which everything sort of appears at once. And that's what I was feeling when she said, we're gonna have two kids and one's adopted. That's an all of the sudden moment. And it's part of what makes it feel so grand.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so
I love it. I'm all about the cliches. I think the more that you go inward and learn how to be with yourself, those sayings have new layers and layers and layers and layers, and sometimes they just knock you. And
yeah.
I'm all for it. So cliche me up.
Yeah, let's go. So then I'm curious about your latest all of the sudden moment
Mm-hmm.
of finding out that you're about to be a dad again. So
So
walk me
it's
through
great
that.
because they are extremely connected. So I had that experience 5 days into our relationship, and then I accept, obviously, because I choose her, which was one of the biggest decisions I've ever made, was actually not getting married, not getting engaged. But the moment I said, I'm willing to be the man for you.
Mm,
And that moment included, thank God, that all of the sudden explosion of truth. So I carry that forward. And as we get closer and closer to a place where we are open to bringing a child into this world, I began to notice that my biggest hesitation was not feeling ready to be a dad of two. And the more we got closer, the more the dissonance between who I am and me as a dad of two felt big and powerful.
mhm,
And
mhm,
so I began to really sit with why and what is this and what's coming up for me. And the first was, I think I want to be a dad of one. That
mm.
really excites me. And I look
Yeah.
at parents with one kid and I'm like, Three Musketeers. They're like connected. It's like they made a friend and they are the three together, and it just romanticized the shit out of it. And so I was like, well, I get to go from zero to dad of two because that's the commitment that my wife made. And so I wasn't ready for that. So I kept saying,
Right.
I'm not ready. 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 No, 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 no. Until I'm sitting with a friend and I'm sharing this story with her. And she goes, I think it might be valuable to share that with your wife vulnerably. Really,
Mm.
why you're a no, really what you're stuck on.
Yeah.
Happened to be the anniversary of the night we got engaged, and we're
Mm.
sitting at dinner. And I go, okay, Rachel said to have this conversation. I trust her, so I'm having this conversation.
Yeah.
And I share, and I'll never forget, because she'll never let me forget. I said, if you would commit with me to one, I would make that thing yesterday.
Mm.
And I know, based on synchronicities and results, that I opened up all that needed to open up because that was the night that we conceived. And so there,
Man. Oh,
there
wow.
was clearly something that opened up in that moment, because
Yeah.
what my wife got to vulnerably own was like, she can't know any more than I can know that she wants two, that I want one, because we aren't parents of one ready to
Yeah.
become parents of two. We aren't there
Right.
to make that
Right.
choice. And so I said, I want to be clear that from every vantage point I have right now, I'd like to be a parent of one. Can you accept that? And she
Mhm.
said, yes, as long as you're willing to continue to be open for that to change as we move forward. And
Yeah.
so we both said yes. And so, of course, the portal opens. The spirit comes in that night. The soul goes, all right, I'm all in, jumps and dives in. So that was the night that we made the little nugget, who, by the way, tomorrow we'll be cutting open a cake that will either be red or pink or blue inside of. So we will find out tomorrow whether the pronouns of he or she are sticking here for a little while. So I'm going to say they for the foreseeable 14 hours that we're waiting here. So
It,
so that's how it
mine
started.
also.
Yep.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and what I love about the opportunity you and I have in this is that every other conversation is talking about becoming a dad and walking through being a dad, learning all the lessons through the rearview mirror, through hindsight, through history, through remembered experiences. And that, like, we're actually sitting together in a car, we're driving through the windshield, and it's all happening real time. And so
Mm-hmm.
one thing you got me curious about is the gap in between who you see yourself as and what you as a dad of two would be, and that you're not
Mm.
seeing yourself there.
Mm.
What's in that space that you're
Mm.
aware of?
So I again think I have a pretty cool vantage point, as I did this a decade ago at 24, and now I'm doing it again at 33. So almost a
Yeah.
decade. 24-year-old me, positive test, wake up the next morning, and I take inventory of my life and I go, there's nothing that I'm doing now that me as a dad would be doing. Where I'm putting my energy, how I'm spending my money, how I'm spending my time, who I'm spending time with, all of it. And so
Right.
literally I woke up the next morning and exploded my life. I blew it all up.
Whoa.
I
Wow.
can't be an artist anymore. I got to take life seriously. I got to get a job. I literally dismembered a 15-year career in the arts that was going really well because it was like not enough. And I literally just I blew it all up to the ground in the name of I'm not the man that I need to be in order to be a dad.
Okay.
Cut to now, same exact situation, positive test in hand, wake up the next morning, and I was so relieved to go, nothing needs to change. I did it. I did it because I had the map. I felt it in my body of what was dissonant between who I was being and the man that could be a father.
Yeah.
And so I had a decade, almost a full decade to shift that and become that. So the first thing to answer your question was that I closed that gap from 24-year-old me to 33-year-old me.
Yeah.
But the gap between 0 to 2,
Yeah.
people in my life love to give me this feedback that no one loved me, but I also already knew that my selfishness is going to explode and need to be rebuilt in order to become a father. I know. I live my life in service, like no question. I wake up every day going, how can I be in service? And I have
Yes.
that was part of the 10 years, was really transitioning that, because I was living life for myself and only myself, and didn't work so well. But what I do is what I want when I want it. And that is how I live my life. And I get away with it because of what I genuinely want to do is to serve others and to be in relationship with my wife and to pour into the people that I love. That is what I genuinely want to do.
Right.
And I'm still the center of the universe. And so I know that there is it already has begun. It's already begun being in service to my pregnant wife, who had really, really, really tough morning sickness, which, isn't in the morning only, over the last 6 weeks. Right. So I've already began to be in the fracturing of that, and in the discomfort, and in my ego's throwing temper tantrums all the time at not being first anymore.
Right.
That was one thing I was really resisting, and going from 0 to 2, which means there are 2 of these beings pulling on me. And now my wife has full-time one and I have full-time one. And sometimes it's going to be me against 2. And I'm preaching to the choir because you have the direct experience. It's cool. I'm looking through the rearview mirror, but you've driven this road a couple times. So it's like you're my driving instructor and I'm sitting driving a car at 15, trying to get my permit here. But that all, and of course, the financial piece of the conversation, I always wanted to be as sound financially as possible before choosing. And before we were kind of shooting on what are we going to go through, and what I was given from my parents was, and there was never enough money the entire time that I was alive. And of
Yeah.
course, my parents were extremely successful. It didn't
Mm.
have to do with money, it had to do with their relationship with money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so something that I really was committed to was like, I'm going to have the option to give them whatever I want to give them, private school, this, that, whatever. I want to be able to give them the option. So that was another fear that was present between
Hmm.
0 to 2, was like, how the
Yeah.
hell am I going to? It was so far away. Like, it was like, I can't even imagine
Yeah.
the version of me that's a dad of 2. And of course, because you got to become a dad of 1. I mean, you could get twins, which is very heavy in our DNA, by the way. My wife's mom is a
Oof.
twin. My aunt was supposed to be a twin, but one passed away. My grandpa is a twin. Like, they're everywhere. So that was a
I
possibility,
mean,
zero to
I
two.
wasn't going to say it out loud, Brad, but
Yeah.
as soon as you're like, I'm okay with one, but not two, you
Yeah.
and I both know
Yeah.
that the universe has a fucking great sense
I
of
know.
humor.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. And so we're confirmed one. We are
Okay.
confirmed one. And
Yeah.
yeah, it just, of course, like, I would have gotten to become a dad of 1 to be able to look and go, do I choose to become a dad of 2? Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I couldn't see
Well,
that.
at a future date, I will share with you the story about when we went from 1 to 2. And
Mm-hmm.
what I will say about it is, I don't know how this works from a math perspective, but 2 is exponentially more than 1. Like, maybe that's all you're tapping into. You're like, 1 + 1 = 2, right? You're like, yes, but not when it's kids.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you're fueling my story
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
Tony. You're
Yeah, but
really
you're
making
also
me.
seeing from the future point, which is it's the best. Like, truthfully, it's the best. Now,
Yeah.
I could also argue against 3 kids, even though I came from 3. I grew up, I'm one of 3 brothers, because just life, like, literally, when you look around, life is set up for groups of 4. It is not for groups of 5. It just isn't.
The hard
And it's
reservation.
a very different way, and nothing wrong with it, obviously, but like, I love 2 as a sweet spot, man, for sure. What I'm really super interested in is where we form our ideas about being a dad. And so, when you were 24, you instantly had a story about what a dad is and what a dad isn't, and you were super sure about it. And you're like, I have to change everything. I'm curious,
Mm-hmm.
like, take me back to your upbringing and your relationship
Mm.
with your dad and your family,
Mm.
and any other influences through the years that got in there to form your perception of what it means to be a dad.
My parents got divorced when I was 6. So, to be honest, I actually don't have much recollection whatsoever of our life together, the 4 of us, because I have a
Yeah.
younger brother, 2.5 years younger than me.
Uh-huh.
So I don't have a lot of that. So what's interesting is I witnessed where I can start remembering, which I not great, I'm sure, for my dad, is all of the identity that he lost as a husband and a father with a partner. And, I watched my dad really struggle being a single dad. It's the
Mm,
last time I remember him successful in his career was
mm,
when he was married to my mom, and confident in his ability to perform and create. I experienced just a lot of struggle in him figuring out how to be a single dad.
yeah.
My dad is a stud by all means and accounts of the
Mhm.
word. He is a very good looking, very fit, charming as all hell human being. And so, I was his kid through the party phase of being 40 and single again, and
Mhm.
the travel and just all of that. But there were some really special things that I took away and remember from my dad. He got one night a week with us, one night a week,
Okay.
every Wednesday night. And every Wednesday night, instead of spending that alone with us, he invited all of our friends over and cooked us all dinner and hosted
Mm,
about 10 boys my age and my brother's age, and gave his night to just pour into us and pour
wow.
into us in relationship versus as a dad, just to pour. Sometimes he'd invite his dad over, my grandfather, but really, like, he gave his one night to, I think he just wanted us to have what we wanted, and
Mm.
to not feel like one night with dad meant that our life got blown up and interrupted, but instead an opportunity to just give us what he knew we wanted, which was to play and to have fun and to be around our friends. Because, I'm talking 10, 12, this went all the way through middle school and high school, like every Wednesday night. I experienced a really loving man and someone trying to figure their own life out through it all,
Mm-hmm.
which I know is every dad in every moment, but truly wanting so badly to be a great dad and just also trying to figure his life out at the same time.
Yeah.
I definitely remember my dad saying, I just don't want to be like my dad. And
Right.
which I hear so much. And I have learned already that is not a way to craft the dad I want to be. And
That's
I've been
right.
really intentional about that in all the ways I can take all that he did that was really wonderful. And I can pull from genuinely people like you and people like my boss and people like my best friends who are dads, people like my uncles and my aunts, and pull from everybody that I see that is beautiful and powerful and what I want to be.
Yeah.
And it's been so helpful because, I witnessed my dad consistently fall into the crutch of good enough because it's better than my dad was for me.
Right. Right.
And when I heard that, all it made me believe is that you're not willing to be any better than you are right now. You're not willing to make a new choice. You've found better than, and you've kind of stopped there. And in my relationship with my dad, we landed there a lot
Yeah.
until I brought him into the transformational training that I run. And now he doesn't say that anymore. And now
Yeah.
he says I'm uncomfortable and stays with me and stays present with me. But for a really long time, like that was kind of the ceiling. And dad definitely took the fun role and he took the cool dad role.
Yeah.
And his parents were the inspiration for, I think, everyone within a 10-mile radius around who to be in this world. And so there was this really interesting dichotomy of my dad actually pointed us towards his parents a lot more than himself. My grandmother at 40, after not even going to college, being a stay-at-home mom, working at her mom's seamstress store in the Valley in Los Angeles, decided to become a public speaker and started public speaking and writing. And when she passed away, she had sold 15 million copies of her books and had spoken all around the world and shifted what it
Wow.
meant to be in our family, because she took us from bottom middle class to upper class with the amount of money that she made and how successful she became. And so who she was in the world, obviously to be a transformational speaker and author, she got to walk the talk. And so she truly had probably the most influence on me on just how to be a human being in the world and how
Mm.
to love in the world. And so I watched my dad consistently, when he didn't know, kind of shoot us over to Grammy and have her kind of be the guiding factor, because it always was love. And
Yeah.
it always
Wow.
was the principles that I now give away. I feel like I am blessed to carry her torch forward and continue the journey in our family. But yeah, what I give dad credit for is not needing to be perfect in it and not needing to know everything, but being humble enough to get support
Yeah.
and be willing to share. I can genuinely say I got really, really lucky with the dad that I have and had and now have, because every day he just gets better. And that's
Well, I'll tell you a prediction. He's set up to be the world's greatest grandpa, because it's like his fathering was practicing that. So
mm-hmm.
he's gonna be amazing in that. And I think
Yeah.
it's an interesting. It's like, what is the measuring stick that people have? Because I think you're right. Like people seem to fall into the category of either like demonize their dad, like my dad's a fucking asshole, idiot, I don't want to be anything like him, or deify, like he's the greatest guy ever, I can never live up to his shoes. And so it's like, I do I do want to give credit to all parents who at least have some semblance of the idea of, I want to do better than my parents did. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
want to ratchet my family history in the positive direction, even if it's just one click. And the
Mm-hmm.
problem with that is the measuring stick. We're measuring it against not you and your own potential and what you could be as a dad, but as like what I've learned through history. And most people are like, they don't have mentors in the fathering
Mm-hmm.
department. And if they do, and the one mentor they have isn't really the one they'd pick
Mm-hmm.
to be their mentor. It might be the one they picked to be their dad, but not to be the mentor. And so there's so much it's useful to go through that inventory of like, all right, what about my dad or other dads that I've seen in the world or other leaders that I've seen do I fucking admire the shit out of and I want to be like? And also, what's the shenanigans? What's the nonsense? What's the bullshit that I absolutely don't like and don't want to be anything like as like ingredients in something that you're making, right? They're just a dash of this and remove that, but we're actually baking something that never existed before, which is this version of you that's a father. That's everything you've been through in your life, all your lineage, all your generational blessings and heirlooms that you've inherited along the way. And you kind of go, okay, great. Who do I get to be as a father? And you're in that formation part of it. You've got the time. I mean, I was kind of go like, why is 9 months that period? Like, why is it 9 months? And a lot of it is like, so the dads can fucking wrap their head around what they're about to, jump into. Whereas women don't even have the choice. Like biologically, it just starts like shifting you. And like, I mean, I saw Cassie posted today, like, I could drink coffee again, like stuff that gets taken away from you. And it's so
Yeah.
genius. I mean, when you watch the whole process, like as a front row, I got a front row and I'm watching this whole thing, you're like, man, wow, humans definitely did not invent the birthing process because we would have fucked it up so many different ways. And it's so amazing, all the little different things for you to be contemplating all of that. One, you've committed your life to doing service, personal transformation, like you're deep, deep in it. And the whole goal would be an incredible like shift in consciousness on our planet is when parents, but specifically I'm focusing on dads, do the work to end whatever, lineage of problematic behavior, thought patterns, all that stuff that just gets passed unconsciously from one generation to another, to be the one that goes, it stops with me.
Mm-hmm.
Not like my kid's 16 and I finally figured this stuff out and now I get to clean up, but I've already passed it on. Like you have this opportunity of going, I genuinely get to not pass on the things that I don't want to pass on. Where are you in all of the contemplation of that? Like this
Mm.
incredible thing that you're building in this intention to be a dad. Like what is
Yeah.
truth?
I will be honest. I think about it in no capacity. And so I'm sitting here. I get into the Inquisition. So why? Like, why do I think about it in no capacity? Because there's no way to interrupt every single pattern that you were inherited, not only from your parents, but from your environment and where you were raised and the way the world thinks and the way the world. There's no way to do it.
Correct.
So when I think about how to set yourself up to win in the best way, it's actually to learn the tools to shift your behavior in real time. How do I catch and interrupt a belief that I'm carrying forward that no longer serves the world I'm committed to building, the father I'm committed to being, the husband I'm committed to being? And so I'm sitting here really grateful that I have learned and practice daily the tools to support me in catching when I'm operating from an old conversation or context, whether it was generationally passed down to me or one I've learned from life in all its glory.
Yeah.
And so that's how I've been approaching it. That's how I'm doing what I can to be the best version of myself I can be, which includes the husband that I be and the father that I choose to be and the leader that I choose to be and the boss that I choose to be. I know that being a father will push up against my ego and my comfort more than any of the rest of those. And I'm proud so far of who I am in all the other categories. And so for
Mm-hmm.
me, setting myself up to win, because let's be clear, 24-year-old me was at a 0 out of 10 in every one of those categories. My
Mm-hmm.
employees, which at 20, I had 12 employees, which should not be that way. They were scared shitless of me. They
Yeah.
respected me, but they didn't care for me. They wouldn't take a bullet for me. They wouldn't go out of their way for me because of who I
Right.
was. And my marriage turned very ugly and toxic. And of course, losing a child is a big piece of that. And without tools to navigate that, I always hear you either come closer together or you roll further apart. You don't stay the same. And I'm really
Yeah.
grateful that we rolled further apart. And I am 100% responsible for what led to that.
Mm-hmm.
I am now, and part of that transition I had the gift over the last 10 years of creating was learning the process of how to be the human I'm committed to being. I think something that's just present to me as I even shared, I can look around at all the men outside of me and go, this plus this plus this plus this is who I want to be. What I actually walk with is that's one way. But I find when I go inward
Mm-hmm.
and I learn who's the man I'm supposed to be and
Yeah.
learn how to be that man, I have all the cards stacked in my favor. And so that's been my game. That's been my journey. And of course, I am also committed to giving that away to as many people as I can. And that's why I do what I do. And this is why, because I know I'm going to fail and fumble and trip and fall. And this is going to be the transformational experience of a
Oh
lifetime.
yeah. It's the number
I
one course on the planet is being a dad. Yeah.
There's no way to do it right, and there's no way to not fail. And
Mm-hmm.
I am really excited for the man that I get to become, that stabilizes in being a father and that
Yeah.
finds my feet and learns how to put my oxygen mask on first and serve my family. I know that I'm going to fall a lot, but I'm genuinely really excited because what I know is the more that I become who I am, the more enjoyment I have of my life. And so, yeah, scared shitless in all the ways, Big T. You're going to be getting lots of
Here
calls
we
from
go.
me. I'm going to be
Here we
leaning
go.
on you the same way
Yeah.
that we lean on each other, because
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the expression "it takes a village" literally comes from parenthood. So,
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's, what I will say about that. It's usually referring to the women in the village. And I love that you're going, no, 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 it's the men. Absolutely.
yeah,
Because the being a father is like the greatest honor and the biggest ability to really impact this human that's coming into your life. And I love, the whole point is take it fucking seriously. And, the trite cliche that I'll say to every single dad is like, life as you know it is over.
yep.
Totally over. And it's not in any negative sort of way. It's just like literally, I hope you've really enjoyed everything that's led up to now, because it's all gonna change.
Yeah.
And it's you're about to get to like the best part of it, especially somebody who loves to support and develop and nurture. I mean, you're already a pseudo dad to so many people who you've been coaching and supporting and transforming. And so I kind of feel like coaching is like parent practice at some level.
I have been really intentional about trying to not force myself to become a version of me that I don't need to be yet, and not let all that's about to come have me transition out of enjoying this moment and where I'm at.
Right.
Because I could go into problem solver mode for all the things that are about to come, and I could build a nursery, and I could paint the walls, and I could buy the things, and I could fill it up, and I could all the. And right now, what I'm really choosing to enjoy is that my wife has a little bit of a bigger belly,
Yeah.
and she doesn't feel great, and who I get to be for her in that,
Yeah.
and inviting in a midwife that we trust and create relationship with into our life, which we just did,
Mm.
and to learn about what's occurring now, and to begin to trust the wisdom of others when it's time and necessary to start working on certain things.
Mhm.
I'll
Mhm.
start working on certain things. So
Yeah.
for the most part, that looks like staying healthy and moving my body and staying limber and strong and enjoying it while I have it. So that's the focus of my attention in this moment.
Because that's all there is. All there is the moment. That's exactly right. So
Mm-hmm.
great advice to yourself. Brad, I'm really excited for this journey that we get to be on, that we get to document your experience as we go. I'm not sure what our next touch point will be, but I'm imagining somewhere closer to birth before would be a really cool, like, what's been different, and who are you now, and what are you experiencing. Typically, what I do when I finish this up is I ask the experienced father to look back and deliver some advice to a brand new dad. So what I want to do, since you and I are doing this through the windshield, not the rearview mirror, is what advice would you give to yourself as a brand new dad? What do you want to be true for you as that all starts to this being comes from being a big bump in your wife's belly to this being in the world? 2 becomes 3. What do you want to give yourself advice?
Permission to fall is what I'm going to need the most. I know that it's really easy for me to want to be perfect and to keep it all together. I already hear my internal conversation talk about, my brother is 6 weeks behind me in his first kid. So we are right on track. I'm sorry, ahead of me. So we are right on track to have the same experience. And I can already hear my ego go, you're going to have it all together and he's going to be falling apart, and that's going to make you better than, and you're going to get right. And so I think what I really need to hear is don't, and let it be okay, and let yourself ask for support, and let yourself be a mess and be tired and struggle where you need to struggle. Cause I know that's going to be really challenging for me. Yeah.
Brad, thank you. Thank you for being part of this journey, sharing it so openly and vulnerably. I know you are an open book, and this is all very private experience you're going through, and like the fact that you're so clear about what you're experiencing, you're so articulate about it, you're able to talk about it. It doesn't mean you have anything worked out, but you're present to it, and sharing that is really beautiful. I just really appreciate you, love you very much, and I just full of gratitude that we get to do this together.
No, I think this is the greatest gift you could give me, because one day my little one will get to look back and genuinely see my experience in this moment as I'm beginning to call them in and create space for them in my life. Like, I'm so excited and grateful to have a little time capsule like this, the opportunity to also look back and see how wrong I was about so many things, which I'm also very excited about. So I can't wait. I can't wait to look back.
Amazing. All right. Well, then, until next time. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Dad Manual Podcast. If you liked it, please leave us a rating or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really liked it, please share it with a dad you love. I'm looking to grow a community of fathers who are ready to change the world, and I need your help to do that. And if you got questions or topics you want me to explore, email them to me at thedadmanual@gmail.com. I would love to answer your questions on our next episode. Until next time, I'm Tony Cooper, and this is the Dad Manual Podcast.